So, good evening. Welcome to the regular public meeting of the Dieppe City. So, without further ado, dear colleagues, may we have the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Do we have quorum? Okay, we're 6, I guess. 6, I believe. Well, we're going to start the meeting. Might be a good idea to turn my mic on. Oh, I'm sorry. I know that in the hall they can hear me, but on the internet it's not so cool. So without further ado, conflicts of interest, if there are any? None? We continue with the adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Godet, seconded by Councillor Leblanc. On the question. No questions? All those in favor of the adoption of the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Resolution is carried as presented. Now, item 7, presentations, inquiries, and petitions. Inquiries by council members to Kodiak Regional RCMP. Master Luc, welcome. Question, Mr. Alain. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I got a call from a resident recently from a lady on Chartersville, and I think that there's been vandalism over the last couple of years on her property. So I was wondering, I'll give you all the information after the meeting, but have there been other acts of vandalism lately? Is there a way of knowing this? I'm thinking also of the residents. If they've lived through such incidents, maybe if they could send us an email. But it also reminds me, I know that we had at one time neighborhood meetings concerning safety. Is it something that maybe the RCMP might think of doing again? I know that incidents like this, it's a very busy street. There's a lot of interaction. And sometimes incidents occur. So I was just wondering, I mean, we were talking about the digital democracy not too long ago. So is there a way that maybe that people can have access to information to know if there are such incidents? We have a mapping system. I think all the councillors receive this, but it would be a good way to find out if there's been B&Es or incidents in the area, as you indicated in the Chartersville area. Lately, if there have been incidents, I could check, but usually the mapping that we send you is fairly clear. Indicates, and oh, sorry, corrections, we do not receive it anymore. We actually have to go and get it on your site. So it's available on the the local RCMP site. Before, you're right, Monsieur Breton. We received it, I think, every Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. On the other hand, this information is available for the public. It's not something, yeah, it's on your internet site. Okay, well, I'll certainly be talking to, and then from then you probably could see per region where there are incidents, accidents also. I'll give you some information after the meeting. The idea would be to kind of give a hand to the neighborhood. Thank you, Monsieur Councillor Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a comment that I received last week. I think it's worthwhile mentioning it. to the senior staff of the RCMP. The comment was saying that the visibility of the RCMP was much appreciated. I think it was worthwhile mentioning that. This visibility should continue. Thank you for the positive comment, and I'll pass the message along tomorrow morning at the briefing. Yeah, it's a comment that is worth mentioning. As a matter of fact, we changed our briefing times in order to be more visible on the roads during rush hour, before children go to school, patrol the school areas, more visibility earlier in the morning, so then afterwards our members come to the headquarters for the briefing. It's interesting that you mentioned this, because this morning I went to Amiro School to read, just like other members of the council do, to read to the younger ones, because it's reading week in Canada. And as a matter of fact, when I got to the intersection of Thomas in the Central and Chartersville, there was a police patrol car there, and you mean they were waiting for you? Yeah, they were waiting for me. No, but they were making sure that people were driving not more than 30 kilometers an hour, because it's in a school zone. So I think also that you mentioned that for the mapping, it's the CRPA site. Yeah, CRPA, Kodiak Regional Police Authority. So no one else? So, Mr. Botton, do you have anything to add? No, as far as I'm concerned. I was away for a couple of weeks. I just got back, so maybe next time. Oh, it's visible that, I mean, we can see that you were abroad. As always, you're welcome to stay with us, but, I mean, we do understand if you feel you should go somewhere else. All right, so 7.2, public hearing modifications bylaw Z9 2017. Monsieur Frenette. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So tonight we are at the public hearing step. As you know, there was the public presentation. In the meantime, we had the opportunity to get the recommendations from the Planning Advisory Council that will be presented at the next meeting. So tonight, it's the public hearing, and it's a question of a timeline. We'll be explaining the dates under the Planning Act, the amendments that are proposed for the planning municipal plan, and also amendments to the bylaw, zoning bylaw. So as we mentioned, we have the timeline. We're going to come back on it. There was a resolution from Council on the 26th of March to start the process for the amendments to the bylaws. The 30th of March, we started with the notices on the website of the municipality. The 9th of April, we had the public presentation. Last Wednesday, the 18th of April, there was the Planning Advisory Council meeting to prepare a recommendation. Tonight there's the public hearing on the 9th of May. It'll be the end of the 30-day period from the public presentation for people who have the objections to the municipal plan and not to the bylaw. And then on the 14th of May, Council will be able to make a decision on the recommendations of the Planning Advisory Council, and also it'd be an opportunity to give you some more presentations, either on the 9th of May or on the 14th of May. So the suggested amendments are the new principles and the propositions concerning the master plan. As you know, last week, the WSP the firm gave us a master plan for the downtown, saying for the next couple of years, this is what the downtown should look like. There was proposals within this document. We considered some of those proposals, and we said, okay, we have all the necessary information to propose some modifications. We must also modify the municipal plan, because before that document there were principles and propositions in the current bylaw. A study had to be done for the downtown. Now that the study has been done, we have to modify the text within the document. Concerning the changes to the land use map, there are certain lots that have been identified, and the next slide will show the identified lots. We want to change the land use from commercial to land use downtown. And finally, within the municipal plan, we have to modify text following the new Planning Act. Was amended in January. Some sections are not different. Some numbers of sections have to be changed within our bylaws also. So the lands mentioned, the 11 lots on the north side of Champlain, the 11 owners of the lots have been informed. And following the public presentation, we also sent a total of 67 letters to the neighbors to inform them that the municipal council had the intention or was studying the possibility of making modifications to those two bylaws. The lots as such right now are zoned, no, sorry, not zoned, because this is the land use commercial to land use downtown, and what is proposed is to put it to land use downtown as most of the other lots. So concerning the bylaws, the main changes tonight are we identified a downtown intensification node. The Planning Act gives us the opportunity to have zones they call overlay zoning in English that permits a heightened density, bonus density is the term. So we identified a sector that we'll be presenting after this slide. There are also certain requirements in the urban design for that zone, which is the CC. A couple of clarifications to the zoning bylaw. Members of council have received all the proposed modifications in the initial report. These modifications are also available at all times. If the public were interested, we invite them to contact us at the office at the Planning and Development Department. The 11 lots that we mentioned for the in the municipal plan, we have to change things for the zoning bylaw. It will be going from commercial, secondary commercial to central. So in any zoning bylaw, we have some modifications to. We have modifications to do with the numbers. So the sector that you see, which is has the red lines, excepting the Dieppe market. If we look at the map, we have l'Acadie. On the west side is and then Champlain on the north. College is to the east. We have Gauvin in that sector. The proposal in this sector is, okay, right now in the CC zone downtown, there should be a minimum of 2 floors each construction. What is being the recommendation from WSP's report is that it be increased to 3 floors instead of 2 floors. We're also adding the 11 lots to the north, which is in the darker red on the map. We're going to be imposing the same type of conditions, requirements concerning the number of floors. So for the lands on the north, the main modification is the change in the zone. We're going to be more restrictive as to what is permitted. Right now, we could have permitted a drive-through service establishment, a car wash, also a service station, repair station. But with the new zoning, with the downtown, these will not be permitted, and we do not permit either service drive-throughs within the CC zone. The other changes, where we're talking about 3 floors, another change to give a direction in our downtown. We want it kind of to be structured as far as the size or the look of the buildings, the urban design. We'll be recommending that all new buildings be with a flat roof with a maximum tilt for drainage, but they will not be able to be aimed towards the road or the street, but towards the yards. And then the last change, which is an important one for that downtown intensification node, is that any new building that wants to add residential units to their development will have to have a parking ratio within their lands. Right now, if somebody is building an apartment building or units at the 2nd or 3rd floor, there's no parking ratio, so they could use public parking around, for example, the 1604 place within the Gauvin area. With the changes that we're proposing, we want to make sure that we have, that they have enough parking for their added units. So the changes to the zoning map, we go from secondary neighborhood commercial to a business, central business zone. And the important dates, as was mentioned today, there's the public hearing on the 9th of May. Up to the 9th of May, people who want to make comments for or against the modifications or for clarification, they can do those up to the 9th of May. Following that, on the 14th of May, the recommendation will be of the Planning Advisory Council Committee will be given to Council. Comments will be received then from the public also. Up to now, we've received one objection, one resident who has some concerns, fears. We've met him at the office last week. Okay, thank you. Are there any comments? Yes, in this process, we must read within the public hearing. The letter that we received on the 18th of April is as follows. I am referring to your public notice on your website as such. So I tell you today that I am opposed to it as a resident directly behind the commercial zone that is I have already a lot of problems with the zoning as it is now, with the businesses that dump snow in my residential yard. My fence is 5 feet high, so my dog can stay there, but now that they're putting the snow on there, I have to shovel it along the fence so that my dog does not run away and get killed on Champlain Street. With the zoning changes, this problem is going to be aggravated with bigger businesses than now. One of the reasons that these businesses are dumping their snow on mine is that I have a gutter that belongs to the city of Dieppe. There's going to be loss of private space. I think that this zonage is going to cause bigger developments in the centre-ville, downtown commercial, with skyscrapers, more than the zone now, which is my house is in an R2 zone, which is a buffer for the numerous residences of the Ville Dieppe, who they are in zone R1. Approximately 100 residences. I'm wondering why the city of Dieppe is pushing this downtown project on the left side of Champlain Street, where we have residentials R1 and R2 and a couple of institutions. There's enough space on the right-hand side of Champlain that's available. Why push the downtown on the left where they're just residences? It's a very abrupt way of planning. CC on R1 and R2. I'm requesting the status quo, which would have less negative effects on residences in R1 and R2. Also, the values of the houses are going to be going down in R1 and R2 if the zone changes. And this project, Zone CC, with the bigger businesses as compared to actual now. Polo Bay resident. Anybody else in the hall with objections? Question, Mr. Gaudette. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to ask, following the meeting with the gentleman whose letter you just read, has there been a change to the opposition, or is the opposition still as strong as before? Because if we look at the snow, that is something that could be prevented. Now, it's the responsibility of the owner on Champlain Street that has to do something. Can you comment on this? Yeah, I can comment on that, yes, but I don't want to. I mean, if it's really the resident, we had a good discussion for sure. I tried to explain to him very clearly what we were suggesting. It was to improve. It was a restrictive zone. I mean, there were drive-throughs behind their houses. It's not something that it was necessarily something they would like. When they're talking about skyscrapers, well, the city does not have the intention of building skyscrapers. Right now, with the Zone CS, it's a maximum of 5 floors. With the Zone CC, it's a maximum of 5 floors also. So even now, we could go to 5 floors. So concerning the density, it's going to be the same thing. The only thing is that we recommend it to be a minimum of 3 floors, because right now we have 2, 1. On the other side, we have 2 floors, 3. So we want it to be fairly consistent. So I think that it was a good discussion with Monsieur Aubé. Unfortunately, I will not say that things, what he thinks about it. Are there opportunities for development on 2 or 3 lots? Because the establishments that are there now, things that have been built maybe 10 years ago, that's all. Some buildings, according to the shape and the investment, these are lands that short-term, long-term, some of those buildings can be demolished. Thank you. Anybody else? No? All right. Thank you for the presentation. And we continue. Item number 8, questions by members of the public.
Continue, item numéro 9.
So we continue, adoption of the minutes. Essentially the regular council meeting held on April 9th, moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Arsenault, that we adopt the 9th of April minutes. On the question, no questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried. Item number 10. Motions, memorandums, and nominations. 10.1, Culture, Leisure, and Community Life. Mr. Mélenchon, 10.1.1. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. As a first file, we're in the Leisure Department. We received a request for a show on the Centre Arthur J. Leblanc in Melanson. So we're going to go beyond 10 p.m. We have to come to council for permission. So steps were taken following the policy. We advised, or the people around the Arthur J. Arena, This is for the 9th of January from 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. on Sunday, June 10th. Acadian and Francophone musing. So staff assessed it. The site is appropriate. The agency or the business is Bourgeois Productions. They are the promoters of this event. So following the information given to the neighborhood, we received 4 comments, objections, 3 who were saying that they did not support this initiative, and the 4th one was hoping that it'd be music. So this is for your information. We recommend to go forward with this type of partnership and that the site be made available for the show. Thank you for the reading of the resolution. Madame Arsenault. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That, pursuant to Section 4 of Bylaw S-9 prohibiting excessive noises, Council authorized an exemption of said bylaw in order to hold a music show at the Arthur J. Leblanc Center parking lot on Saturday, June 9th, 2018, from 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. on Sunday, June 10th, 2018. So moved. Moved by Councillor Arsenault, seconded by Councillor Godet. On the question, Monsieur Alain. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 questions for the staff, and I see Monsieur Bourgeois here. Is it the only request that we're going to receive this summer? Because traditionally we have 1 concert during summer, so are we going to have more? Yeah, and then we have the 15th of August, so maybe it'll be on another site, but I'll ask Joe if he can give us more details. Members of Council, yes, we have another show that's going to be organized for the 15th of August. It's a Wednesday night, so we won't go as late. We're probably going to end at 11:30 or 11:30. 11:15. Possibly have 2 evenings also during the Imaginaire Festival. That would be on the Dover Park site, so we're looking into that to have some type of show. Those are the shows that are planned for this 15th of August? No, it would be on Place 1604. Place AGL, for the time being. Arthur J. Leblanc, there's only 1. We're talking about the stage. Where would it be? That affects the sound, the noise, depending on where it's set up. It's a good question. Our previous experiences, we've always put it for different reasons. As close as possible to the building, there are advantages to that. But obviously, if we put it at a different angle, there might be other residents that'll be bothered. I mean, it's music, it's going to be loud. But all our previous experiences show that the best place for the stage is close to the building. And for other reasons too. I mean, if we want to have people inside for the toilets and things like that. I know, Monsieur Bourgeois. Beautiful initiative. Certainly, it's something that we want to see. I mean, our culture in the city. But is there a way, Monsieur Bourgeois, maybe 1:30 in the morning is a little late for people who have to get up to work. I mean, some families work every day. Maybe you could, instead of 1:30, maybe make it a little earlier. Start early, finish early. Is there a way? I know, I understand your point of view, obviously, but after consultation with previous promoters at RGL or in the city of Dieppe, the hours were, if I remember, if I'm not mistaken, were very similar. The idea of starting earlier and ending earlier is not impossible, but as mentioned, if we start during dinner, obviously there might be fewer people. And I mean, you know, we also have 5 artists that we had to fit into the schedule. Like I said, I'm not against it. I'm probably going to vote for the motion, but if there's something I would like to at least see that if it said that it stops at 1:30, that it should stop at 1:30. Also, question of safety. People have sent us comments. I mean, yeah, this is a good Acadian party. We know that sometimes it can go a little later, but I mean, we have to remember that we have to respect not only the environment, but the people too. And at the end of the day, I mean, if it's just once, I got no problems with this. I know you do good work, and I hope it'll be good. Thank you. Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be voting in favor of the resolution also, except that every time we have a show at the Arthur G. Leblanc that ends late, that's not when it ends. I mean, I can understand the impatience of the residents there. First of all, I mean, we don't have that. There won't be any parking because the event is on the parking lot. That means that the cars are parked outside of the site. When the show ends at 1:30, that means that they're going to be leaving the site. It's going to be 2 o'clock, and then people start walking on the street to go to their car, and people in the area, the residences, the ones with the children, I mean, the older ones, it's not a problem. I remember comments the last couple of times. I mean, people were even considering going to spend a night in the hotel. So I would also be in favor of starting a little earlier and ending a little earlier. Okay, I don't think anybody wants to start the show at 5:30, but start at 10 o'clock and finish at 1:30. For celebrating, it's a good idea, but for the residents in the neighborhood, it's not that much of a good idea. So, I mean, starting at 9 o'clock maybe and ending at midnight, that would be a possibility. I mean, 12:30 and 1:30 at that point, I don't know if that's much of a difference. I could give some details. Well, the show starts at 6:30. We're asking for the extension starting at 10:30. It's not because the show starts at 10:30. The show starts at 6:30. Oh, sorry, I didn't get that information. Oh, yeah, okay, starts at 6:30. Monsieur Bourgeois, do you have anything to say? No, it's just like Luc Bugeaud clarified. It's the show starts approximately at 4:30. And just to add to Monsieur Alain's point, we are ready to confirm that excessive noise will end at 1:30 on Sunday morning, as it's stipulated. Thank you, Councillor Godette. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to make a comment that I think it was last year or the year before that there was a show at the Rotary Park on the parking lot of the Rotary. Maybe in the future, long term, maybe we could look at that site. I know that it's difficult because we put some islands with trees in the middle of the parking lot, but eventually if those islands with the trees were not there, it could be an interesting site for shows because it's surrounded by the woods It's reasonably far away from residences, and setting the stage toward the trees would probably cut down quite a lot of sound from the drums and things. So it's just a comment. I know that I was president at that show. It was good, but the only problem is the logistics around the little islands for the trees. But I mean, it could hold as many people as on the Arthur G. Leblanc parking lot. Thank you. I want to specify that be on the Melançon, on the Rotary Park, or 1604. I mean, music is music. So we'll hear a little bit everywhere in the municipality, depending on the wind direction. We're working on an event site that would be permanent. That's something for the future, though. But Rotary Park, yeah, the trees presented an obstacle because some people couldn't see. I just want to make the point that we're going to make sure that at 1:30, because this is what is going to be what happened at other events, and it kind of stretched out to 1:45. So here it's 1:30. We want to make sure that it'll finish, that it'll end at 1:30. We're working with the producers and the promoters of the show. All right, thank you. So if that is all for the question. We've read the resolution. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Resolution is carried. Thank you. Item 10.1.2. Here you have a recommendation for a purchase of a mini excavator. And over the last couple of years, we were renting it. And after a detailed assessment, we decided that we should purchase one because it's less expensive long term, and then we'd be the owners of the equipment. So we had a tenders. 4 met the criteria, and we recommend that the Kubota model for recreational facilities, an amount of $199,180 HST, and the account number for the purchase. That is our recommendation for you. Reading of the motion. Conseiller Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council award the tender for the purchase of a mini excavator with attachments, Kubota model, for the Recreational Facilities Division to Nova International Limited, pursuant to its proposal dated April 4th, 2018, at the cost of $99,180 plus HST, and authorize the expenditure be defrayed from account number 3-3-20-12-7900, General Capital Budget, Equipment Purchase. Also, the council further authorized a budget transfer in the amount of $15,000 from account number 1-2-70-80-3000, General Operating Budget, Sports Field, to account number 1-2-70-84-2565, General Operating Budget, Equipment Replacement Program. So moved. Moved by Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Councillor Arsenault. On the question. No question. All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. 10.2.1. Engineering. Monsieur Melançon, thank you. As you know, over the past couple of years, we've been working hard, and we have a service agreement with the Greater Moncton Wastewater Commission, Trans-Aqua. Here it's to develop an agreement with the City of Dieppe, City of Riverview, City of Dieppe, and the Greater Moncton on the sharing of the services and the costs savings. We have an example with the Babineau line. We've developed a line with capacity for both, and it was built in partnership. So that's an agreement, shows the collaboration of mutual interests, the responsibilities, obligations of each party, and also possibility of contributing to the decision-making with the Commission, and describes clearly the capacity of the Commission to have service agreements for costs and cost recovery. So it's beneficial for the municipality, the 3 municipalities, and the Commission. So we recommend the authority, signing authority. For the reading of the resolution, Monsieur Alain. Thank you. The council authorized the municipal signing officers to sign the service agreement between the City of Dieppe, the City of Moncton, the City of Riverview, and the Greater Moncton Wastewater Commission. So moved. Moved by Councillor Alain, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau. On the question. Monsieur Thibodeau has a question. It's a question of clarification. Why were we talking about the Greater Moncton Wastewater Commission, and why not TransAqua? The legal formal name is still the Greater Moncton Wastewater Commission, but the public now, there is a branding by the commission, so it's TransAqua, but the legal name is still Greater Moncton. Yes, I know that the municipality, I can move out of my mayor's chair if you want me to, if you want to ask the question. I know that the municipalities benefited over the last 2 years by the construction of Babineau, and I'm wondering, it's good that we benefited from it now, but in the future, could it maybe have a negative impact due to this agreement with other municipalities, because we agree that some of the municipalities are not as advanced as we are on their sewer system. As a matter of fact, some have a major deficit. So I'm wondering how we could be impacted here when they will want to start to catch up basically on the 150 million deficit in infrastructure that they have, which is partly water and sewer deficit. So is my question understandable? Yes, we understand it very well. Okay, maybe the answer is not that easy, but I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You're right. Some municipalities will be faced with the challenges. It's only when it's mutually beneficial. So for the sewers that belong to the municipality, there's no cost sharing. So it has to be shared between the commission and the municipality in order for it to be beneficial to both. And it has to be part of a global plan. And TransAqua has already developed such a plan. So as the agreement is structured, there should be no negative impact on the work that is going to be done outside of the community. Okay. I just wanted to check. I want to make sure. So does my question raise questions from other members of the council? If not, all in favor of the resolution, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. Next item, 10.2.2. So, in our infrastructure plan, roads 2018, the industrial street reconstruction project with the ramp on 15 that will be going into industrial, it was identified as a priority project. So filing a tender for proposal received. Dexter Construction Company Limited was the one that we are recommended for an amount as $1,721,350 plus HST. Also with the EXP Services Inc. for $135,000 HST. So what is shown in the resolution and the reserve also, and identified in the resolution also, is for your recommendation. For the reading of the resolution, Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council award the tender for the project entitled Industrial Street Reconstruction 2018 to the lowest bidder, Dexter Construction Company Limited, at the cost of $1,721,350 plus HST. Also award the tender for engineering services relating to said project to EXP Services Inc. at the cost of $135,000 plus HST, and authorize that these expenditures be defrayed from account number 3-3-35-58-7639, General Capital Budget, Industrial Street Reconstruction, and from account number 4-3-90-58-7639, Water and Sewer Capital Budget, Industrial Street Reconstruction. That Council authorize a budget transfer in the amount of $915,000 from account number 7-4-20-12-8920, General Reserve Fund, to account number 3-3-35-58-7639, General Capital Budget, Industrial Street Reconstruction, and a budget transfer in the amount of $660,000 from account number 7-4-20-12-8940, Water and Sewer Capital Reserve Fund, to account number 4-3-90-50-7639, Water and Sewer Capital Budget, Industrial Street Reconstruction. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Arsenault. On the question, Monsieur Alain. Thank you. Just, first of all, to the residents of the city of Dieppe, thank you for your patience. Each time there are infrastructure projects, you have to be patient. I work in the field, so I know traffic has changed, as we can say. Mr. City Manager, what is the timeline for this ramp on 15? It's important for the Dieppe residents to know what the timeline is, what's the deadline, and I hope that we need the ramp. Madam Spencer, please. Thank you. As you know, the ramp is the Department of Infrastructure and Transport. They work with us. Our project should be ended by end of July, and it's their intention to have finished the ramp at the same time, and before the movement from Dieppe Boulevard on the 15th, because right now it's prohibited, so we have to wait for the ramp to be usable. So after the month of July, August, we won't be able to use the ramp on Dieppe Boulevard. By what we understand, yes, there'll be a time when their project will have to prohibit that, so people will be able to leave, get out on industrial or go to the airport. I just want to specify that it's going to be prohibited during the construction period. Concerning toponymy, industrial. My comment, maybe it's not the proper time, maybe it would be the right time to change the name, to bring it to a new name that would be able to recognize someone for our municipality. I think it should be considered, and I'm convinced that the administration can come back to us on that. We'll have to look at the initial reason for the name that is there now. Obviously, it's another era, 1973. So it might be an opportunity. Madame Arsenault. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to repeat what Mr. City Manager said. There were 4 bids, and Dexter Construction Company was the lowest bidder. So I just want to say that I'm proud to hear that there were 4 bids, and there were good prices too. Great, thank you. Thank you. If there are no other questions, I have one for you. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried. Thank you. Next item, 10.2.3, Monsieur Menonceau. So the extension project of Gauvin Street and the extension of College Street Phase 2, following a tender, 5 bids were presented. Modern Construction 1983 Limited is the one that is recommended for the amount of $2,945,200. Also, consultant with WSP Canada for $245,000 plus HST, also a Transfer. Also, there are details concerning College Street, which is going to be closed to traffic for a good part of the summer. People who live there and the businesses are going to be open, but we won't be able to cross because we are repairing, and the major change at the intersection of Gauvin and Future College to have a roundabout. We have to change sewer lines, a major job. Also for the brook. So population will be made aware, and the businesses will be made aware of this situation. We will have a very good surface after. So this is for the whole summer of 2018. So this is for your recommendation tonight. I didn't want to give you everything that was negative because there's going to be some positive after that. Reading of the resolution, Mr. Godet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council award the tender for the College Street Extension Phase 2 project to the lowest bidder, Modern Construction 1983 Limited, at the cost of $2,945,200 plus HST. Also award the tender for engineering services relating to said project to WSP Canada Inc. at the cost of $245,000 plus HST, and authorize these expenditures be defrayed from account number 3-3-35-58-7637, General Capital Budget, College Street Extension, Phase 2, and account number 4-3-90-58-7637, Water and Sewer Capital Budget, College Street Extension, Phase 2. That Council further authorize a budget transfer in the amount of $200,000 from account number 7-4-20-12-8940, Water and Sewer Capital Reserve Fund, to account number 4-3-90-58-7637, Water and Sewer Capital Budget, College Street Extension, Phase 2. So moved. Moved by Councillor Godet, seconded by Councillor Alain. On the question, Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Did I understand properly? Did you say that College Street is going to be closed? Gauvin Street. I may have said College, but it's Gauvin Street is going to be closed. Thank you. Thank you. Some people are listening. No other questions? All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. 10.3 Public Works. Monsieur Mélenchon. So, recommendation to purchase a sidewalk tracker with a snowblower, model McLean MV4, with the McFarland's Limited. 5 bids were received. McFarland's won it. That was recommended for an amount of $119,315 plus HSTs to replace a part, and then we'll sell the piece of equipment that is starting to show its age. Thank you for the resolution, Madame Arsenault. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council award the tender for the purchase of a sidewalk tractor with snowblower, McLean MV4 model for the Public Works Department to McFarland's Limited, pursuant to its proposal dated April 10th, 2018, at the cost of $119,315 plus HST, and authorize the expenditure to be defrayed from account number 3-3-20-12-7900, General Capital Budget, Equipment Purchase. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Arsenault, seconded by Councillor Godet. On the question, Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarification, does the tractor come with the snowblower attachment? Good evening. No, there is no snowblower. It's just the sidewalk. It's written with snowblower, but it's just the tractor. So we'll have to correct that on the resolution. So with the correction that will be made, all those in favor of the resolution, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. 10.3.2, budgets. In our 2018 projects, there was also the replacement of the Fox Creek pumping station. Following the RFP, we received 5 bids, and we realized afterwards that the costs were pretty high, more than what was in the budget. So after an internal evaluation with our consultant, Crandall Engineering, it was validated for different reasons that the prices were justified. So because it's urgent to proceed with the work, we had to make choices, and we are recommending that Camille Légère Limited is the lowest bidder at the cost of $562,110 plus HST. And we also ask that you authorize the Crandall Engineering Limited $47,000 plus HST that was in the engineering services. We identified transfers in the resolution to obtain the difference with the budget. And the reasons for the additional costs are part of the memorandum. We're talking about something that comes from the United States. It's been identified here. Also, the mechanical aspects was a little different from what it was, and that requires changes for the electrical panel at the pumping stations. For all of these reasons, which are justifiable, we've accepted. Crandall Engineering is present. If you have questions, you ask them, because I won't be able to answer them, but we need to start work. The need is very pressing. So, consideration and approval tonight. Thank you for the reading of the resolution. Monsieur Alain. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. The Council award the tender for the Fox Creek pumping station project to the lowest bidder, Camille Légère Limited, at the cost of $562,110 plus HST. Authorize Crandall Engineering Limited to undertake the engineering services relating to said project at the cost of $47,000 plus HST, and also authorize these expenditures be defrayed from account number 4-43-90-58-7717, Water and Sewer Capital Budget, Fox Creek Pumping Station. The Council further authorized the following budget transfers: $455,000 from account number 7-4-20-12-8940, Water and Sewer Capital Reserve Fund, to account number 4-3-90-58-7717, Water and Sewer Capital Budget, Fox Creek Pumping Station, and $185,000 of funds initially intended for the water quality building project from account number 7-4-20-12-8940, Water and Sewer Capital Reserve Fund, to account number 4-3-90-58-7717, Water and Sewer Capital Budget, Fox Creek Pumping Station. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Alain, seconded by Councillor Leblanc. On the question. No questions? All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. Thank you. So, no municipal bylaws tonight, no notices of motion, I presume, inquiries and announcements by members of council, and I think that it is on my right that we start tonight. Monsieur Gaudette, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, for your fantastic 4 minutes. No, just 30 seconds I have a question for Madam Spencer. It's concerning the studies that have to be made on Melanson and Fox Creek. Are we ready to decide, first of all? And second of all, last year there was a study that was made concerning the speed signs, the electronic ones on some of the streets. Could you explain what's going to happen with the use of these electoral signs? Are they going to be permanent or? Madam Spencer. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the first question, we've just finished counts at those intersections, so we're not ready to decide. We gave everything to the consultant, and we'll come back to you on that once they come back. For the speed signs, we've already had a request on Champlain at the eastern part of the municipality to have them set up, so they are set up there. But for the other places, we haven't determined it yet. Often when we receive complaints on some streets, the residents know that we have these signs, so they ask us to set them up. So our plan is not really set up, yes, for this summer. There was a question at one point that there might be something permanent with these signs, and no decision has been made. So is it something that you're going to let go, or is it still being studied? It's still being studied, so no decision has been made for a permanent place. But as you know, when they're there permanently, maybe the trend is to not respect them anymore. So that's why we move them around. But we still have to determine those things. Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing tonight. Thank you for your 4 seconds. Councillor Thibodeau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I simply have one question for Madam Spencer also. Did we look at the parking situation on Cousteau Street? Are there any conclusions, or should we prohibit? Yes, we looked at the situation, but okay, during the winter, obviously things get worse, but we went to take a look at a couple of times, and we're recommending that parking remain the same way because it's close to downtown. People park there, and if we prohibit it there, maybe people will be parking closer to residences that are around the Cousteau. So for those reasons, we're recommending the status quo. Thank you. Thank you, Madame Arsenault. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One little comment. Even if it's repeating myself, it's the fact that our city manager explained that there had been a couple of bidders for all the projects. Those bidders from 4 or 5 different companies. I just want to say that's a fantastic work on the part of the municipalities that we're trying to find the best price for the good work. So thank you very much to City Manager. And also the volunteer recognition evening at the Arts Center here was a great evening. It was beautiful. Very nice evening, and thank you once again to all our volunteers. The World Day of the Book today. Monsieur Ernest Boudot and Monsieur Lapierre was there at Amiro School, and it was very interesting to see all these children. Thank you very much. Thank you, Monsieur Melançon. Yes, just to say that when we receive bids, I mean, we follow the Act on Public Purchases, so we invite submissions, and we don't go get the bidders. They come and get some information from us. It's a public process. It is not the municipality that contacts. We put notices up on the provincial website, and bidders come in and offer their bids. Yes, I didn't express myself properly, but it's just to say that it's done in a very, very good way. You're offering, and so if people sometimes we have preferences, people say, but in this case, it's not the case. Thank you, Monsieur Alain. I have 4 items. Volunteer recognition, Monsieur Bugeaud, Madame Babineau, you did beautiful work. It was a very good evening. 34th year with volunteers. So it was a very nice evening. On behalf of council, I know that also there's a gentleman from Dieppe that is being called the Senior of the Year, Clément Cormier, Roland Colette. Very important resident of Dieppe. At the evening on the 5th of May, there'll be the gala dinner of the seniors. He's a friend of mine. I worked with him, and I have much respect. So it's a good person for the Clément Cormier. Also, on the 14th of May, there are 2 people who have put in their names for councillor at large. So we're asking the population of Dieppe to vote on the 4th of May. There are 2 very good candidates, so please go vote. And I also want to say that it's Mother's Day. And I want to wish a great Mother's Day to all our mothers. Thank you, Monsieur Alain. We're going to be encouraging everyone to go out and vote to these pre-vote that will be occurring on the 5th of May. As I said, I don't have that much to say. There's good news for the region, particularly for Dieppe, that we heard this week. And I hope that there'll be some even more better news for the city of Dieppe in the next couple of weeks. That being said, a good evening to all.